Good afternoon, Grade 1B. I'm next going to read the story, The Hungry Squirrel, to you. I know it's a story because there are illustrations, and it says story by Annette Smith, illustrations by Jenny Mount Stephen. So let's activate our schema now. It's a story. We want to think about who is in the story, what's happening first in the story, what's happening next, then what's happening, finally what's happening. We want to think about where the story is taking place and when is it happening, in the daytime, at nighttime, okay? So, the hungry squirrel. So let's first, as a good reader, we can look at the picture to start to activate our schema to think about what the words might be that we'll be reading. We see a squirrel in a tree. Now let's go read the first page. Little squirrel is up in a big tree. He is hungry. Little squirrel can see a basket on the big tree. Now in the next picture I can see that the little squirrel is jumping down from the branch to get closer to the basket. Here comes little squirrel. Now I see that the squirrel is sitting in the basket. Look at little squirrel. He is in the basket. He is looking for nuts. I can see that the squirrel now is holding something in his hands. Maybe it's a nut. Little squirrel sees a nut in the basket. Look at the basket. Now I can see the basket in the tree is by a house, and there is someone sitting in a wheelchair inside the house. I also see a retaining wall here. A girl is looking at little squirrel. Now in the picture, I can see that the girl is coming outside and she has something on her lap. Little squirrel is looking at the girl. He can see nuts. The nuts are for the hungry squirrel. Okay, so now we've finished the story. Let's do a retelling. Who is in the story? The main character is a little squirrel. Another character is the girl in the wheelchair. Where is the story taking place? Most of the story is taking place outside in a tree. When is it? Daytime, because the pictures are fairly light and there's colors, so I know that it must be daytime. What is happening at the beginning of the beginning of the story? We see the squirrel sitting in the tree and we find out that the squirrel is hungry. He then sees a basket and he jumps down to it. He finds one nut in the basket and holds on to it. He then sees a girl in the house. She comes out in a wheelchair with a container that has nuts in it. She puts it on the ledge for the squirrel to eat. That is the end of the story and the end of the retelling.